want to talk about a couple things here. Overall, I mean, I can't complain. They are nerfs. It's a solid patch update. I haven't heard anybody really complaining about it too much. That's what I'm down for, dude. Especially with like these overtuned or underpowered heroes. I'm much tuning go on at a micro scale very often, so you can consistently test, get feedback from the general community. Doomfist Rocket Punch. Doomfist changes so far I'm pretty happy with. Cooldown increase from 3 to 4 seconds. So the Rocket Punch being increased, that's like a 25% reduction in the amount that he's going to be able to spam his Rocket Punch, which is great because he was just able to hit punches way too often. He was able to knock you around too much, especially for players to dodge or whatever. It was very difficult to do. Power Block. Minimum damage mitigated required to empower Rocket Punch increase from 80 to 100, which is a good start. We were noticing that his power block was charging his punch up way too quickly. We saw this with especially May's left click. You would tap him with your left click for half a second and he would be almost completely charged. Especially for a projectile like May, it's really hard to constantly just not be shooting him because at any point he can power block, and if you are already shooting at him when he presses that button, he is going to be completely charged. So it's nice to make this a little bit kind of, we're getting there to where like it's okay to shoot him and then react to when he blocks and stop shooting. It's a little bit less oppressive in that factor. So overall, Doom's going to be outputting a lot less damage overall between these first two changes, between the Rocket Punch and the Power Block, by the way. And then thirdly, the best defense, his temporary health gain per target hit with abilities decreased from 40 to 35, which is going to make him less survivable after he lands hits. And we've been noticing that Doomfist is just almost impossible to kill after he lands that first Rocket Punch. He's just way too survivable, did way too much, obviously very tanky. I'm glad they acknowledged this early on and made these changes. The Orisa change, I wouldn't really call it a buff as much as it is just a quality of life update. Now, obviously, let's start with the Terra Surge, her ult. Now pierces through barriers upon impact. I kind of agree with this. Her ult kind of sucks booty cheeks. It's really hard to get value out of it. Kind of similar to Maze Freeze, honestly, but we're not going to see a buff on that anytime soon, I don't think. It's just very hard to get value out of Terra Surge, especially on its own. It's kind of rough. You kind of use it more for the slowdown than you do for the damage, especially at higher ranks. So this is good. Now pierces through barriers. It's going to be harder to like just block her ult pretty easily, but noticeable distinction there is that wall still is going to block Orisa's ult because it is not a barrier. It is a physical object with a health pool, so it should by definition be able to block it. Her augmented fusion driver damage fall off range increased from 15 to 25. This just means she's going to be able to poke from a distance a little bit more. She doesn't have to get so close to get a lot of value, which I mean, she is a very brawly close range hero. I don't think this is going to matter too much except for like between fights to charge up her ult. Orisa gets a lot of value from being pretty close up, so she's definitely gonna play still as like a brawly-ish tank, but this is gonna make sure she gets her ult quicker. Ramattra changes. Whew. Nemesis form movement speed increased by 20%, which is kind of cool. I kind of like he's gonna be able to close the distance quicker in his Nemesis form, so he's gonna be able to get those melee shots in much easier. This is great, especially since he's more of a poke tank, so you can actually engage your melee and close the gap, your Nemesis form, and then close the gap, which is nice because usually before that you kind of had to get close before you hit the Nemesis form and try to catch people with your melees before they realize that you had changed. Armor bonus increase from 150 to 225. This is massive, and I don't know how I feel about this yet. This is a massive increase. I don't know why they didn't start with maybe just an extra 25, at the most 50 to 200. 75 extra bonus armor for going into Nemesis form is a lot. That's an extra 75 HP on this man. So we'll see how that changes. And then the cooldown for the Void Barrier reduced from 15 to 13 seconds. Not a major change. I mean, his barrier for the most part is not crazy good anyways, so this shouldn't be a big deal. Ramattra plus Lucio plus Kasune Rush, he goes literally too fast. I don't think we're going to be seeing a lot of it yet. I think Ramattra still as a hero is going to need an extra buff to really be like good. This is a good start, but the bonus armor on the Nemesis form is going to be kind of it's gonna suck because his poke form isn't that great either, and the barrier is a little bit better. I don't think it's gonna change his gameplay too much right now. Sojourn Railgun. Primary fire spread increased by 28%. This is just going to be a little bit harder to land consistent shots with her primary fire. This is much more for the casual base of players or lower ranks. This primary fire spread isn't a huge deal. Now, this does mean it's going to be harder to charge her railgun, which is nice, but this I don't think it'll make a huge difference for the higher ranks in that regards. Now, this though. This is massive, and I've been asking for this. You guys have heard it. I've been asking for it since she came out, that her disruptor shot should not have any movement penalty. Why? Because her right click is a one-shot headshot, and all you have to do is throw your disruptor shot. You get charge off of it too, and you get easier headshots. It like synergistically makes sense for Sojourn, but as long as those two things existed, she was going to be overpowered. So this is huge. Disruptor shot no longer slows enemy movement at all. It just does damage, which is fine. It's less of a spam thing. It's gonna make it she's not gonna get as much easy value charging up her railgun. This is massive. I'd say this is a bigger change than her primary fire spread being increased. And then power slide cooldown increased from 6 to 7 seconds. This means it's gonna be a little bit easier to punish her. We'll see how that comes into play, especially with the dive tanks that we have, like Winston, Diva, Wrecking Ball, all the good stuff. Just a little bit less mobile. This is good. I agree with this. This makes the counterplay a little bit better. So she's able to get actually punished. Now, she still has the ability to get out, but she needs to hold it. She can't use it whenever she wants, which is good. Tracer, and like I said, dude, I'm not surprised at all. Wow, they reduced her damage from 6 to 5.5, which is probably closer to the right amount of damage. I still think Tracer is going to be good, but not like disgustingly good like she was before. She's definitely going to be an A tier DPS pick though. Still, 5.5 is still a lot of damage for Tracer with the current changes in Overwatch 2. So this is still going to be a good pick, but much more reasonable. Ana, Biotic Rifle, which I'm kind of excited for, man. I think Ana's like not meta. I think Kiriko is still S tier support. We'll get to that in a second, but I think Ana is interchangeable with Kiriko now. Like if Hog is on the team, Ana's gonna be the pick. Now the nice thing is that I think Winston and Kiriko are still gonna, and Lucio are still gonna be the support picks. So the nice thing is that you can still play Ana with that, because Ana goes really well with Winston dive. So I think Ana and Kiriko are the two like interchangeable supports. Like it's either Kiriko and Lucio or Kiriko and Ana, or Ana Lucio might work, but I think Ana Kiriko is still really good combo between supports. Biotic Rifle damage and healing increased from 70 to 75. We've heard about this on Twitter. Is that Ana can now two-shot tracers, everybody. Woo, baby. They're nerfing Hog's one-shot ability mid-January. Did they announce that officially, or they did? That's all Hog's got going for him, dude. He's just able to get it too often and too easily. That's the problem. I don't think it's that he can one-shot people. That's his whole thing. He's the one-shot tank. That's all he's got going for him. If he can't one-shot, this happened earlier, dude. This happened in Overwatch 1. They nerfed Hog to where he couldn't one-shot people anymore, and he literally became the worst tank ever, because there's no reason to play Hog unless you are able to one-shot. Like, that's his thing, is you one-shot. He's gonna be poop again until they bring him back and let him one-shot. I'm sorry. I know that's probably a hot take, but if Hog can't one-shot like most squishies, he might be a little poop. At least 225. He should at least have a 225 combo, if not a 250, because I still think he should be able to one-shot Mei with a combo, like hook shot melee combo, or shot hook, whatever you want to call it. The interview with Emong and Flats. Damn, you guys watched more than I did then. Thanks. I feel like a lot of times this dev team, they're nerfing the thing that people are complaining about the most, but they're not fixing what the problem is. It's not that Hog can one-shot, it's that it literally just happens all the time. Like, you just always have to be watching for Hog hook. So, and it's like people are crying about the one-shot ability of her. No, we have heroes like Widowmaker. Like, one-shots are a thing in the game. But that's the thing. If it's a hero that one-shots, it's got to be that's it. That's their thing, is they one-shot. They can't be like really good at other stuff too. And It has to be the one-shot capability and like a little bit variance between them, between Widow and Sojourn. Sojourn's a little bit more mobile. Widow's a little bit more long range. They both one-shot. Sojourn shouldn't be able to one-shot as far as Widowmaker, and Widowmaker shouldn't be as fast as Sojourn. That's it. There needs to be a counterplay. You know what I mean? That's what I'm saying. I feel like they're making changes to things that don't address what the actual issue is with the hero. Kiriko, protection Suzu, invulnerability duration reduced from 1 to 8.5 seconds. I agree with this. It does last too long. You see this all the time, especially with Ryan charges. If you see Ryan's charging, Kiriko can literally Suzu herself and she'll be like a decent away from the wall and still be able to not die from the charge. I like this. This is good. I think I agree with this. Suzu was too long. It was too long at the beginning too. Wasn't it 1.15 seconds when they first released it? It's kind of crazy. So overall, most of these changes I agree with. The only ones I don't really agree with is no changes to Orisa despite the buffs. I think that's just a dumb move. You had an opportunity to change Orisa and you just decided not to. I still think she's not great for the game. She's impossible to kill, especially in lower ranks, and she's impossible to kill in higher ranks. Now she doesn't get a lot of value. It's just not fun to play against her. You know what I mean? Like Orisa's just like, she's just there. She exists, and it's not like, it's almost like you ignore her. Kind of like how Doomfist got to, by the way. And the Sojourn effects, I love them. Ramattra, I don't have an opinion on because I don't really know much about him yet. I don't know how he plays in higher ranks yet, so I don't really have much of a take on it. I think he needed a buff, but we'll see. Yeah, if they nerf the one shot, it would be taking away the one unique thing Hog has compared to all other heroes. Yeah, they've done it before. Like we've literally been through this song and dance before in Overwatch. That's what I'm saying. If they're literally nerfing him to where he can't one shot most heroes, except for like maybe they'll probably leave it to where he can one shot like Zen, Tracer, Genji. I still think he should be able to one-shot most supports, all supports. I think Hog should be able to one-shot all supports. I don't think any of these support heroes right here should get out of Hog Hook freely.